Okay, we've all been there. You're in a speaking test, you absolutely know the answer, but your brain and your mouth just aren't talking to each other. It's a total nightmare, right? Well, today we're going to fix that. We're going to master the two biggest keys to a fantastic score, fluency and coherence. Let's do this.
I mean, that feeling of pure panic when the words just disappear, it's the worst. But listen, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. The secret is, it's not always about what you know. It's about how you perform when you're under pressure. And that's exactly what we're going to get you ready for.
So where do we even begin to build that rock-solid confidence? Well, it all starts with fluency. But here's the thing people get wrong. Fluency is not about talking a million miles an hour. Nope, it's about control. It's about finding a speaking rhythm that sounds natural to you and is super clear to the person listening. Let's look at one of the biggest mistakes that trips people up.
There's this myth that if you speak really, really fast, you'll sound more fluent. That's just not true. Honestly, it's like trying to drive a car with your foot slammed on the gas pedal the entire time. You're just going to lose control, burn out, and, well, you're going to crash.
Okay, let's take a closer look at what's happening in this example. You can hear the speaker is just trying to force the words out, but their brain is lagging behind. And what do you get? A total jumble of repeated words and false starts. It's not just confusing to listen to, it's a huge red flag that the speaker has lost their train of thought.
So, what's the secret weapon to fight this kind of verbal mess? It's something so simple, you might actually laugh. It's the pause. That little moment of strategic silence that gives you all the power, control, and clarity you need.
Just look at this. This is a masterclass in effective speaking from Steve Jobs himself. He gets asked a pretty deep personal question, and instead of just blurting something out, what does he do? He takes a beat. He pauses to think. That little and pause, that isn't weakness. That's a sign of a confident speaker who respects the question enough to give a thoughtful answer.
So let's totally reframe how we think about the pause, okay? It is not a glitch. It's not you failing. It's a tool. It's your secret move to gather your thoughts, find the right words, and then deliver your ideas with some real impact. It's a feature, not a bug. All right, so the pause is a great tool. But what happens when you pause and there's nothing? Your mind is just a complete and total blank. That's our next big challenge. The fear of having absolutely nothing to say.
I mean, this quote right here, it just hits you, doesn't it? It's that raw, honest fear of looking like you don't know anything. But here's the good news. This is a problem you can solve, and the solution is probably not what you're thinking.
When we're scared, the first thing we want to do is memorize everything, right? Create these perfect model answers that we can just repeat back. But trust me, that is a recipe for disaster. You end up sounding like a robot reading a script. And the second the examiner asks something slightly different, total panic. Okay, so here's a much smarter way to do it. Give yourself a little warm-up. Practice the easy questions, the ones you know are coming, like your name, where you're from, what you do. That gets you over those first-minute nerves. Then, for the rest of the test, just trust yourself. Have a real conversation. You have plenty to say, I promise. And that leads us perfectly into our second key skill, coherence. Because being fluent is great, but it doesn't mean much if you're not making sense. Coherence is all about being easy to follow. It's about connecting your ideas logically so your listener is right there with you. Have you ever been talking to someone and you ask them a really simple question and they just go off on this weird tangent that has nothing to do with what you asked? It's super frustrating, right? Well, that is the exact coherence mistake we're going to look at right now. Let's break this down. The question is so simple. What do you like about your hometown? But the answer? It's talking about a lack of restaurants in the past. It's a total mismatch. It doesn't answer the question at all. So what on earth is happening here?
The template trap. This is what's happening. A lot of students are taught to use these really rigid formulas, like the past, present, future structure, for every single answer. The problem is, they try to force every question into that box, and the result is just a garbled, incoherent mess.
Okay, so here's the full answer. And it's a perfect example of someone caught in the template trap. Sure, the sentences might be grammatically okay on their own, but when you put them all together, they have nothing to do with the actual question, which was, what do you like? The speaker is so focused on following a formula that they forgot to actually listen.
Think of a good conversation like a simple game of catch. The examiner throws you a question, you catch it, think about it for a second, and you throw back a direct answer. It's a simple back and forth. It's not a speech, right? It's a dialogue.
So here it is, the golden rule of coherence. Listen more than you speak. Seriously, before you even start thinking about your answer, make sure you 100% understand the question. Only then should you start building a response that's actually relevant, direct, and makes perfect sense. Okay, so we've figured out the problems and we've got the solutions. Now for the most important part. How do we actually practice this stuff? How do you turn these ideas into real skills you can use when it counts? That's what this final section is all about.
Oh man, this is a big one. So many people think that if they're good at writing in English, they'll automatically be good at speaking. But that's a dangerous myth. It's like thinking that just because you're an amazing swimmer, you can go out and surf a massive wave. Same ocean, totally different set of skills.
Just think about it for a second. When you write, you have all the control in the world. You can edit, you can delete, you can rewrite a sentence 20 times. But when you speak, it's live, baby. There are no takebacks. That's why you can't just study speaking from a book. You have to actually do it.
So here's a simple but super powerful 4-step loop you can start using today. First, you say your answer out loud. Then, you write down what you just said. Third, you check it for mistakes. And finally, you say it again, but better. It might feel a little weird at first, but I'm telling you, this is a total game changer.
And the best part is, you can turn your entire day into a practice session. Like, try narrating what you're doing for 10 minutes while you make your coffee. It sounds silly, but you're building those mental muscles to find words on the fly. Or record yourself describing a photo on your phone. The more you play with the language in these simple, low-pressure ways, the more natural and creative you'll be when the real pressure is on. So as we wrap all this up, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked about pausing, listening, practicing, but at the end of the day, all of these tricks and techniques are just ways to build one thing: confidence. The confidence to know that you have what it takes, not just to pass your test, but to absolutely crush it. Now go show them what you've got.